small rotary appendage. Pilot found it on walk around. All right, what kind of gobbledygook is that? That is anatomically correct way of saying it was a small hydraulic leak in the front landing gear assembly. You see proximal? It was up inside, wasn't down where the wheel was. That's proximal. The gear on the airplane. Okay, but that's real good gobbledygook. We're getting too much. You see, I see things. I look at a person and go, oh, well, he'd be so. See, this is what they do in Germany. In 9th grade, they go the skilled trades route, so they can come over here and build our port plants now and build our. We still build the building. We provide all the infrastructure, but we're not building the innards. And let me tell you, the Dutch and the Germans, they do a beautiful job. Beautiful. It's beautiful equipment. My pig hat, my chicken hat's real happy about it. My education hat's very unhappy right now. And some people may say that's wrong to do that. But I've worked on too many of these big, complicated projects. You see, and I'm skilled trades route, drafting, that's what I did. I've done a ton of engineering work. I can't do algebra, I still can't. So how did you get through college? There was a little quirk in 1967 that enabled me to slip through. And that was finite math. And in 67, it was probability, matrices, and statistics. And with tutoring, I got through it. But in algebra, I don't know what would happen to me.
Wow.
But the clever engineering department doesn't need algebra to figure out the super clever ways to make this new stackable chicken tray. There's no module. You know, you can have the drawer modules and pull the drawers out. No, it isn't that. The drawer framework, they're more like shipping containers holding like a tray of chickens, and they stack, and then they have the top of the truck comes down, pushes down on it, and keeps the shipping containers from flying out my way. You see, now the way my mind works is I'm relating how that stacking works to shipping containers. That's an example of visual thinking. I see shipping containers, I'm seeing pictures I took of this system, and I'm like seeing how they relate. Because you have to have a way to hold the shipping containers from, they stack. But what's taken me, I've learned that there's different ways people think. And in 3rd or 4th grade, you can figure out whether a kid's an art kid. Well, let's expand the art skills. Drafting. People are doing 3D drafting right now. 2 months ago, I got 26 drawings, 30 drawings for some cattle stuff. I can't say what it is because it's confidential now. But all these stupid 3D drawings, they're the dumbest things I ever saw. There was no detail. Where is your rebar in your concrete? Okay, if I build a stem wall this high and I mount a steel fence on top of it, how is the steel attached to it? Am I using weld plates with rebar pins down inside? Am I using anchors? If I'm using anchors, what size anchors am I using? How are you attaching the fence to the concrete? It was not shown. A contractor's going to come in there and just rip them off. There was no detail in this drawing. Now, right now, I can think of 3 different ways I could draw the detail. Then they have their pros and cons. I could do different ways. I'll discuss it with the client. But you draw it. I want a 1/2-inch weld plate, and it's 6 inches square, and I want 2 bent 1/2-inch rebars, pegs bent like this, that I put down on the wet concrete on a foreman. Or I can go with a certain anchor. But you got to spec it. They hadn't done that. This is a drawing that's right now. And they're going to start construction soon on this. I can't tell you where it is because that is kind of, I'm bashing it and it's kind of sensitive, confidential. So I can't tell you what it is. But this was a major engineering firm and the drawings are a piece of garbage. Wow. The other thing I'm seeing with some of the stuff on drawings is people that have never built anything and they've never drawn by hand make perceptual errors in drawings. I noticed where they don't know where the center of the circle is. They are not seeing their drawing. And back when the industry went from hand drafting, I've worked with every single one of these big companies, every one of them, and to the computer drawings, I got drawings with this type of mistake in every single major big company. And in each case, it was somebody who'd never drawn by hand or had never built anything. They were not seeing their drawing. That's seriously bad. This is where you need both the mathematical mind, I can tell you, boilers and refrigeration,
Thinking.
huh? Clever engineering department doesn't touch that stuff. Too over our head and too dangerous. But you have to have the whole team to build the plant.
Yeah.
You see, I've gone into warehouse, I went shopping for warehouse equipment. Same thing, we can make the robots, but all the other conveyor stuff we don't make. And why do we make the robots? Because kids play with robots. You see, this is getting back to the schools. But what I want to get into, I want to do really well in STEM, we can't just cut out the clever engineering department. Okay, that's my little speech there.
I love her.
Yes, ma'am. You mentioned both about cattle working systems that were inside as well as outside.
Yes.
In your years of service and work, have you found that it's easier on the cows or the handlers to be working inside or outside the building?
Well, the thing is, if it's 10 feet of snow outside, I don't think I want to have be shoveling out the corrals. You see, and I'm starting to think, specific or super hot sun. I'm thinking comfort of the people too. Now around here where it's warm, probably want to put a shade over the squeeze chute. Now one thing, here's something you don't, and you leave the sides of your building open. That usually helps on getting them in there if they can see through the building. Now one thing you don't want to do is have the shadow of that roof or the edge of that roof right where your single file joins your crowd pen. Doesn't matter what kind of crowd pen it is. Where you have a dark single file and a bright crowd pen. You either want to cover the crowd pen with the roof, or you just cover around the squeeze chute so a good big piece, maybe 20 feet of single file chute is outside of that roof or it's shadowed. You see, if you put a balking point right where the single file joins the crowd pen, that will really mess things up. But the other things, work cattle early in the morning, and then stuff can just be outside, it'll be fine. And don't point the squeeze chute east where you're going right straight into the sun. I wouldn't do that. But there's some situations where comfort of the people, I'm gonna need a roof. If it's raining, I've got a big feed yards. I was down in Mexico. They put a roof pretty much over the crowd pen, the single file, and the squeeze chute for sun protection mainly. Because they have to, or if it's raining, you don't want to be standing out in the rain vaccinating cattle. So you also have to think about your people too. And then you get up in the real cold country, I've got to put the stuff in a building. But there's a tendency sometimes in a cold country to cover too much, and then I've just got a big bird-infested mess where the birds have ripped out all the insulation. You might